Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for giving us an opportunity to try and share the project which we have worked on the cycle time reduction within the Castellex process. So moving on to the next slide. Moin, could you please move to the next slide?
Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm not able to move to the next slide. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Lokesh. Sorry, team.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is the confidentiality notice which we are trying to display. Needless to say that, okay, definitely this presentation is only for the consumption of this particular forum and not to share this particular presentation with any outside parties. Moving on to the next one. So the next slide is going to talk about the Northern Trust. So let me actually take an advantage of my colleague Asif was given a great introduction about Northern Trust. So I think we can try and move on to the other slide. Moving, do you mind moving on to the other slide?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is the process background. So like I mentioned, okay, we are looking at the cycle time reduction within the Castellex, right? Okay, so the Castellex is a process where a non-trade related activities is okay, which is being processed by different divisions within the Northern Trust. So what this team will do is, okay, they would actually look at all the non-trade related activity. When I say non-trade related activity, it could be an dividend income or a bond interest or a tax reclaims that which our clients would have got it. And whenever they get these kind of non-trade related activities is looking in a varied currency, they definitely don't want to keep their long balance in their non-operating currency. So what they would want us to do is, okay, they want us to try and repatriate those non-trade related activities into their base currency, so that they could utilize that particular money for their further investment. So this is the flow that what it depicts in terms of how and reports are generated, and then how we do the investigation, and then we go ahead and process the effects and then approve the effects. All of these steps are manual in the current process. Moving on to the next slide, Moin. So coming into this particular slide, like I mentioned, currently the FX settlement, it is happening in a span of 3 days. P is nothing but it is a posting date. This is the date where all the non-trade activities get posted in our internal accounting system by various departments. So due to our system limitation, we are not able to see the real-time information on the same day. So our systems are able to try and pick up the information only the overnight, so that by the time the Castellex team sees this information, it is P+1, that is posting day +1. So on the posting day +1, what we do is, we generally go ahead and generate all the reports manually. There are close to around 300 odd reports that we generate for a large number of accounts. And the first step that what the team does is they look for a standing instruction. Of course, for each of the account, for each of the client, for each of the transaction type, there should be a standing instruction from the client or the investment manager. Only based on the standing instruction that we have to go ahead and execute an FX. And even before executing an FX, the other step that what we need to check is if there is already an FX which is in place, so that we don't duplicate these FX, right? So all of this entire process happens on the P+1. And then is the FX execution happens on the P+2. That is mainly because there are varied currencies which we work on within the foreign exchange. And by the time these reports are available, we do this reconciliation. Majority of the system, the currency cutoffs has already passed through. So that is how we were executing it on P+2. So what was the main issue here? So the main issue was, Northern Trust were executing all the FXs on P+2. However, the clients or the investment managers were expecting us to execute this FX either on P or P+1. They didn't want us to take almost 2 days to execute their FX. That's mainly because is look at the other global custodians are able to provide this kind of capability. And in case look, if we don't enable this capability to our clients, then what would happen is look, we have a very high risk of losing them as well to our competitors. Moving on to the next screen. So this is the project charter. Like I mentioned, look at the main objective of us is to try and move our FX execution from P+2 to P+1. And also is like other objective is to try and reduce the cycle time reduction. And the current cycle time reduction that when we look at the baseline data, look, it is on an average, look, we are taking anything between 8.7 minutes per FX for us to execute. And our objective is to try and reduce it by 40%. And the benefits that what we are looking at from this particular project is, one is definitely the client satisfaction. Second is the efficiency gains is looking at what we could try and derive at. And the three, the reduction in risk, because considering that we are executing FX, there is a huge market risk as well. The in scope is the cash telex process, and the critical to quality is all FXs looking to be processed on P+1 rather than P+2. So the approach that what we have taken is DMA IC, that is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Moving on to the next slide. So as part of the data collection, what we had done was we came up with a data collection plan, and then we got our processors to collect the data. So the data that what we collected was cycle time of the process to process each of the FXs in our internal system. And the source of the data that how we collected was by doing a time and motion study on a daily basis for a short period of time. And considering that it's a cycle time of processing FX, look at the data type is a continuous data. Actually, when you look at the chart, look at the bottom, it shows the sample data that what we had collected. And with this data, what we did was we did run a run chart of cycle time to try and see the stability of our process. And considering that the p-value for MCOT was greater than 0.05, you look at this process was considered to be stable. And moving on to the next graph is definitely the other target what we were looking at was to try and achieve a cycle time reduction. And the target what we had kept to ourselves was 40% reduction. So which was a kind of a very aspirational target. Moving on to the next slide, Moin. So as part of the analyze phase, what we did was, we did an end-to-end value stream mapping. So when we did an end-to-end value stream mapping, one of the major things that what we did was, we laid out all the steps that which are part of this particular process. And then we did a brainstorming session to try and identify the potential causes, which are mainly leading to a high cycle time within the process. And post-which we used hypothesis testing and the Gemba analysis to filter down to the significant causes. And from once the significant causes were identified, we did an YY analysis to identify the root cause analysis. Right? Based on the root cause analysis and also the Kaizen Bliss, there were a couple of quick wins which we were able to identify. The quick wins were duplication of efforts, and of course, look at the manual process as well. When I say the duplication of efforts, so this cash telex process is a global process where an APAC, EMEA, and North America regions are involved. And they are a standalone teams which were concentrated only in that particular region. So as part of this, what we were able to do is, we were able to try and enable the global operating model where once the APAC team logs off, and EMEA team were able to try and pick up the work from APAC and so on and so forth with the North America as well. Moving on to the next slide. So as part of this analysis, few of the solutions that what we really identified is, like I mentioned, all the non-trade activities were getting posted on the posting date. However, we were able to see them only on the posting date +1. That is mainly because of the legacy systems. And our systems were not capable of giving the real-time information. So what we did was as part of this project, we along with the IT, we did an end-to-end solutioning, and we were able to try and enhance the system for us to try and get the real-time feed. So once the real-time feed was available, we actually did a few macros on a VBA-enabled macros by coming up with a complex logics. Look at the process flow which I showed, where integration of data from two different systems to try and look at the standing instruction. If standing instruction is there, check for if there is an manual, if there's a duplicate FX. If nothing, then it would go ahead and execute an FX. And of course, this is helped in tracking the errors as well.
5 more minutes, please.
Yeah, sure. Moving on, Moin. So these are a couple of improvement evidences which we want to share. Like I discussed in the previous slide, one of the system enhancement which we did was to try and enable for us to get the real-time feed. The manual process which we automated was accounting entry getting picked up on the Cash-to-Dex report automatically, and extracting the standing instructions for each of the transactions from our golden source application automatically. And of course, generating effects into the FX processing system automatically. So this is all of the automation on the input process. And the third is, the teams working separately, like I mentioned, APAC, EMEA, and North America, they were like standalone teams. So we have enabled a global operating model. So the teams are working together where any spillover from APAC has been picked up by the EMEA and North America. Moving on to the next slide. So this is the before and the after comparison. So like I mentioned, before this project was taken, the cycle time was 8.7. So post this project was implemented with this automation, we were able to try and reduce 45% of our cycle time. So the current cycle time is 4.8 minutes per FX, which has actually resulted in increase in the efficiency of 20% as well. Coming into the process sigma level, when we measured the sigma level before the process improvement, it was -3.87, and after the process improvement, it is 0.61. And also when we see, there is a reduction of NVA time of close to 42% before and after the implementation of this particular project. Moving on to the next slide. So this is a comparison. In this comparison, we can see in before, we would see that P+1 and P+2, where is where the transactions were getting posted. P+1 is where all the validations used to happen, and P+2 is when the settlement used to happen. If we look at the after improvement, you look at the posting and the validation, everything happens on the P, and the settlement is happening on the P+1. So in this way, we are trying to enable what our clients are really looking forward for. Moving on to the next slide. So in the control measure, we can see, at the cycle time, how it was 8.7, it has been reduced to 4.81. And also, post implementation, we really wanted to try and measure how our post implementation has gone. So we use the eye charts to the cycle time in minutes. And when we look at these charts, again, the LCL and the UCL are all within the range, and there are no anomalies observed in our new or the improved process. And these are the project benefits that we were able to achieve. One benefit is definitely the customer satisfaction. That was the main objective of this particular project, of we executing FX on P+2, but now we are able to execute on P+1. Second is this automation has actually eliminated a lot of waste within our process, and which has resulted in a 6 FTE save. And also, this project has given a flexibility in terms of, we are able to try and observe a lot of organic growth, which we see on within our processes. And coming back to the reduction of risk, uh, our manual process were error prone, and this automation has helped us in terms of increasing the accuracy as well, which has resulted in not having many losses for the bank as well. So this is a project summary. As part of the project summary, look here, we had used 20 plus tools, and of course, look at the process sigma level has improved from -3.87 to 0.61, and there's a cycle time reduction of 8.7 to 4.8, which is 45% reduction. Process efficiency is improved again, and of course, look at this overall save of 650, translating into an 100K save. And in this COVID scenario, look at everyone are going through a tough time. Look at any kind of dollar save is a big look at support to the organization as well. And again, to close this presentation, one point is look at, yeah, we are able to look at try and execute the effects on P+1 as per the customer's request or the client's request, and through which look we are able to try and retain all our clients. Okay, so that is one of the biggest advantage of this particular project. So that's it from me. Opening out for questions.
Thank you, Lokesh. I think you're dot on time. Dot on time, I think I'd say 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Great. So yeah, the alarm is on. Great. So Ashish, Rohit, would you like to take up the question first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So just wanted to understand what was the primary objective of the project. Was it cycle time reduction, or was it moving from P+2 to P+1?
So the primary objective was definitely to reduce the FX execution from P+2 to P+1.
Okay.
And along with that, it was also a cycle time reduction.
Okay, so what was the achievement? Was it a percentage achievement from P+2 to P+1, or was it 100% boom?
It was 100% because, like I mentioned, the other global custodians in the market are able to execute effects on the P+1. So definitely, okay, we had to enable this for 100% of our clients for us to be competent in the market.
Okay, so you were able to process it 100% within P+1, right?
Yes.
Okay, and coming to the cycle time, so I can see the reduction on an average, but have you also looked at the variability which it had earlier and post improvement?
Yep. Mohan, do you want to take that question?
Yep. You know, we have looked into that as well, Ashish. You know, Rohit, sorry, and we also statistically validated with the help of two sample t-test, and we see that there was significant reduction as well without much variation. So the data was normal even after implementation of these improvement actions, and we also proved that with two sample t-test. Like I just wanted to bring that point. We cannot present the entire deck just because of the time. We thought we'll basically present the gist of what we have done. So
how does it check two sample t-test? How will it check the variability? I'm not sure.
no, basically not the variability in terms of the improvements. Whether the improvement is statistically significant is what actually we have used. We have done by using two sample t-test, Rohit.
Okay, so you've not looked at the variability that much.
No, Rohit.
Okay. And one last question on, so I can see a lot of system enhancements, automations and everything, correct? Is there any, so that will obviously make the process faster. What are the key NVAs? I can see the NVAs also reducing, right? A non-valuated activities time.
Yeah.
What are those actions? Because I missed it. What are some of the actions in which has actually reduced the non-value added?
Yeah, so the non-value added ones where like I mentioned, before the automation, we had to manually generate 300 reports for a large number of client base. And then we had to manually review each of these activities. And for each activity, we had to refer to a standing instruction, which is there on a different system altogether. So this automation that what has really enabled us is in terms of trying to bring the data from three different systems, so that at the back end, with the complex logics which we have built in, the system is able to try and do all the reconciliations or the validations, and then only the valid FX deals are pushed into the system. So
Okay,
that
so
is how.
so you mean the manual workaround which you had is more of a NVA. That's what you have categorized that.
Yes, and also there were a lot of wait time as well, right? Okay,
Okay.
so the transactions were getting posted on the posting date, that is the P. Because of our system limitation, we were not able to see them on the same day. We were able to see them only on the P+1. And
Okay.
other thing is, because of the varied currency cutoffs, what we have, it starts from APAC and it goes on until the North America, right? So then what we had to do was we had to prioritize the early cutoff ones as part of the manual process, and the later cutoff FX deals were still lying in the queue for our processors to come and pick it up.
Hmm.
As part of this automation, what has happened is ideally we have reduced a lot of wait time, when the system is able to try and do this processing much faster than an human, right? So that is how we are able to reduce this non-valuators.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashish.
Yeah, just one query. Again, it was a wonderful presentation. You were talking about that the global team was managing earlier, and that got reduced. So, my is my understanding correct, or?
No. Actually, because we're a global custodian, we service all the client base, APAC, EMEA, and North America. So before this project was implemented, what used to happen was, for APAC set of accounts, an APAC team used to try and monitor those accounts. Once they log off, there was no one else was looking at those accounts. And then the EMEA will look into EMEA accounts, and North America would look into North America accounts. Considering that we are a global custodian, I mean, the client from an APAC could have actually invested in North America securities. And ideally, what would have happened is this FX would have lied in the system for one day for an APAC team to come back the next day. So in the current model, what we have done is when an APAC team logs off, they hand over to my EMEA team, so that any spillover which is there, the EMEA team is able to try and pick it up and then process those FXs, rather than the APAC team coming the next day morning. So like that, an EMEA team would hand over the work to North America, and North America would hand it over back to APAC. So this was again will go in a cycle. So that is how we were able to enable the global operating model.
Okay, and you were able to manage the different time zones by changing the process and all.
Yes. Okay. So ideally, the coverage is now 24/5, and including the Sunday coverage as well, because we do cater to the Middle East currencies, and the markets are open in the Sunday. So ideally, we are providing the Sunday coverage as well.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Lokesh and the team. And I have one question before we close the first session and take the break. Lokesh, if you can, help me in understanding, because you said the process sigma level, improved from negative to positive, right? And it's around 0.61.
Mm-hmm.
So at 0.61 process sigma level, what is your view on the capability of the process going forward? Is 0.61 is the ideal one, or what is the ideal one that you'd like to have?
Yeah. So definitely, I would like to take that question. One is the current automation what it is looking at is only automating the input process. However, we have not yet automated the approval process. The reason why we have not done is because we have put in a lot of complex logics at the back end, right? So we really want to try and test for an extended period how this automation is really going to work as well, right? Of course, we've got a greater confidence on how it's going to work, but we just want to try and test that. Once that is done, as a phase 2, we want to try and automate even the approval process as well, so that it is a complete STP of all our process. So Moin, do you want to try and add anything here?
Yeah, definitely. I'll add. So how we have calculated the process efficiency is just something that I want to share, and then probably that might answer the question as well. Is, we had collected the before data, and our target was 40% reduction. So we were running at 8.7. So against 40%, which is nothing but 5.2 minutes. So that was our USL. So against 5.2, how are we operating at? Not what stage. So when we calculated our sigma level, we were at around minus 3.67, Devajit. So then with the same, after improvement, with the same target of 5.2, how are we doing? So we saw that, most of our, data points are where, earlier it was before 5.2 against the target. Now, most of them have come down to 5.2. Again, like Lokesh said, yes, there is a possibility of continuous improvement. We also can look into other things and then see how can we even try to reduce that. But currently, if you ask me, Devajit, yes, we are definitely working less than 5.2 minutes for each of the FX trades that we book.
Thank you, Moin
Yep.
and
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. And Praveen, would you like to announce the break time? Right now it's almost 12:57 in my clock.
Sure. I think, yeah, let's take a quick 10-minute break before we start the next presentation. And how is it going? I just want to hear from you, right? Is this going good?
Yes, Praveen, I think it's going good. This is Moin again from Northern Trust. The reason, why I brought this point is, this is the first case study where we are presenting remotely. And so that's something I thought basically there might be a lot of delay in terms of the way that we take, in terms of if there can be any system or network issues and all those things. But I'm happy that things are going fine, without any delay, and then the way it is going is absolutely fantastic. So that's something that I would like to add from my end, Praveen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
Hi, this is Lokesh. I think okay, Six Sigma is nothing but a continuous improvement, right? Okay, so even in this pandemic situation, I don't think that okay anyone has taken a step back, and even in this current scenario, that okay, we are still able to look at try and have these kind of sessions and look at try and look at get the learnings from different partners, look at from a different varied organizations, which is really great, right? Okay, so I think okay, yeah, it is mainly the okay it is given an opportunity to try and say that okay, hey, nothing can stop us really, right? Look, with the help of technology, that okay, we can still move forward.
I
But
agree, Lokesh. I agree. That's why I call all of these are the warriors, like who are logged in today.
yeah, but in my view, it's great. Of course, look, it is always. When you move, when you do an improvement, okay, you feel really proud about your own improvements. But when you look at what someone else has done, and look, it gives you another perspective and other opportunities, saying, okay, hey, maybe look, we could try and look and learn from this and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that okay, all of us could try and take great learnings from these sessions, right? I feel that okay, look, it is going great.